Hello, my name is Kia Bowens, and I'm a PHL here at UCO. So, a little bit about us: we provide evidence based research to our peers about topics such as interpersonal violence, mental health and wellness, and substance and alcohol abuse. So, today I'm going to be coming to you guys with a video about how you can stay socially relevant during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Let's see. All right, so first we're gonna watch a video, and this is gonna give you guys some insight about what's going on other college campuses so you can kind of get a feel for how other students are feeling as well. So I feel like this is a good way for you to kind of understand other students and maybe, find something that you can relate to as well. So
Like the rest of the country, universities shut down to stop the spread of coronavirus.
So it's like a little bit apocalyptic. It's practically about here. This is the center of campus. Everything's closed, dining halls are closed, gyms are closed.
Traveling back to South Carolina.
Okay, so that video was just to give you guys some insight on what other college campuses are experiencing. So you know that it's not just us. Like you saw in the video, there kind of seems like it's like an apocalyptic type of vibe going on. It doesn't seem like that much anymore, but I know when the pandemic first started, that's kind of the feeling that we had. Nobody was on campus. We were all at home. Grocery stores are dead empty, and you really didn't get out and do much. So that was just kind of to give you guys some insight and something to relate to. So there was a study that was done prior to the stay-at-home measures, and this study investigated more than 10 million Google searches and found that topics relating to anxiety, negative thoughts, sleep disturbances, and suicidal ideation increased a lot right before the stay-at-home orders were put into place. And then after that, they kind of leveled out, but you can kind of see where people started to become worried right before then. I guess people were kind of anticipating these feelings. So a lot of us are probably anticipating these feelings of isolation and loneliness. So it's good to know that, we aren't the only ones that are experiencing this. So now we're going to talk about what social isolation is as well as loneliness. So the definition of social isolation is the objective lack of social relationships or infrequency of social contact. So objective is something, it's kind of like something that we have to do. And then loneliness is a subjective feeling of isolation. So this is something that's more so internal rather than external. And someone can be socially isolated, but not necessarily feel lonely. And, somebody can be social isolated and feel lonely. So for those who are suffering from both, we're going to talk about some things that you can do later on in the presentation to combat these feelings. Another point I wanted to make was that as college students, we are used to being active on campus and getting to be in class and getting to participate in the campus culture, as we like to say, getting to hang out with our friends, study groups, things at night, going to the library, staying up late, and, just having a good time. And I really feel for our freshmen because this year they didn't really get to, or last year, they didn't really get to experience any of the things that normal freshmen do their first year of school. And a lot of people like to say, your freshman year is the funnest year of college. So if you're a freshman and you're watching this, I feel for you and I understand what you're feeling. Maybe college didn't go as expected your first year, but I'm going to give you some things that you can do later on in the presentation to kind of combat those feelings. So next, we're going to talk about how your brain reacts on social distancing. So let's go ahead and pull that video up.
Social creatures. But to stop the spread of COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, we all need to do exactly what we're biologically programmed not to do: social distancing. We humans don't have big claws, sharp teeth, or hard shells. We've evolved to feel safe by sticking together. Therefore, few things are more alarming to our systems than suddenly being alone. Just like how, when we're deprived of food, we feel hungry, when we're deprived of social connections, we feel lonely. Loneliness, like hunger, is a warning signal, reminding us that we're not meant to be alone and encouraging us to form deeper connections. If we can't form deep social connections because, say, we're social distancing due to a global pandemic, our bodies go into survival mode. We start producing more cortisol, a stress hormone that keeps us alert to threats. Our bodies experience more overall inflammation, a way to prepare to heal any injuries we might get while out on our own without help. And our sleep becomes shallower, so we can wake up to dangers in the night. These survival responses help us get through short, threatening bursts of isolation. But the longer we're lonely, the more these changes wear on our cells and organs. That's why perpetually lonely people are at higher risk for mental, physical, and emotional problems and have weakened immune systems. So, we're stuck inside for the foreseeable future, and this creates its own unique problems. That's why we've created Closer Social Distancing, a YouTube video series and website designed to keep all of us happy, healthy, and more connected. Up next, we explain how to stay connected during social distancing with the 3 components.
Okay, so as you guys saw in the video, they talked about how we as humans are naturally social creatures. And the sole reason why we as humans have persisted throughout the world and throughout society as a greater species is because of our ability to communicate with others. So the COVID-19 pandemic has sort of taken that away from us since we're not able to, physically communicate and be, in each other's faces like we normally would. And so we've kind of had to, counteract that and find ways that we can still persist within our communication as a species. So, and then also in the video, it mentioned how your cortisol increases when you're more stressed. So if we're not getting the connection that you're used to, and we're not getting that social interaction that we need, we may produce more cortisol or more stress. And that can lead to a plethora of other things in your body that you may not know that's actively happening. So next video is the 3 components of connection. So this video is going to tell you guys how to combat those feelings of being stressed or feeling lonely, and things that you can do to ensure that you're staying socially interactive with other people. So I'm gonna go ahead and play that one too.
Learned in our last video, your brain on social distancing, that we're not built to be alone, and that the longer we feel lonely, the more our bodies start to break down mentally, emotionally, and physically. Whether you're social distancing all by yourself or with a partner or family members, the COVID-19 pandemic has surely made your social interactions much fewer. Whatever your situation is, it's totally understandable to feel lonely. We feel it too. Here are 3 tactics to help you in the fight against loneliness. 1. Recognize your loneliness for what it is. Loneliness, like hunger or thirst, is a natural way for your body to tell you it needs something. Connection. You're not sensitive or weak. You're a human, a social creature. So take your feelings of loneliness seriously and objectively, just like you would for feelings of hunger or thirst. 2. Be vulnerable with at least one person. Pick someone who you can confide in and who can confide in you. Connect regularly via video calls or over the phone. It can be scary to talk about your feelings, but you'll both find that it's a great remedy for loneliness. 3. Be part of something bigger than yourself. Participating in greater society is critical for feeling connected. Thanks to technology, you can connect to something bigger without leaving your home. Consider finding a cause or nonprofit to follow and support. Lastly, we want you to know that you're not alone in your loneliness. In fact, this is one of the rare times in history that people all around the world, of all different cultures, languages, socioeconomic groups, are experiencing the same thing together. We have more great videos coming your way, so be sure to click subscribe for more.
Okay, so an overview of that video, she talked about how you can combat those feelings of loneliness like we talked about in the previous slide. So there are 3 things you can do. 1, first, you need to recognize that your feelings are natural and it's okay. I know a lot of times as college students, we're kind of just told to get over things. And that's just the culture of campus life. You know, you get an F on an assignment, you get a D on an assignment, you do bad, you kind of just have to get over it and do better the next time. Or, you know, we're not getting enough sleep, you know, you kind of just have to get over it. Like, oh, we didn't get enough sleep, whatever. Like, you know, we're in college, we're not supposed to sleep. So in this video, it's okay to accept the fact that, you know, you're not feeling okay. And it's okay to not be okay about, you know, not getting to go to football games or not getting to go to the involvement fair or, you know, any of the things that UCO has to offer. Because I know we have a lot of things going on campus. So I want you guys to know that it's okay. Like, we don't have to just accept it. It's okay for us to feel the way that we're feeling because we are young. I know there are some older college students as well, but a lot of us here are, you know, what, 18, maybe like 23, 24 years old. And a lot of us are used to, you know, being able to go out with our friends and, you know, going out to eat and hanging out and going to the library and things like that. And that was kind of just stripped away from us. And I know that a lot of freshmen here on campus have kind of had that taken away from them as well, like I probably mentioned earlier, but it is okay to feel sad about it because I personally do feel sad about it too. So, yeah, just first being able to recognize how you feel and understanding that it is relevant and you don't have to listen to people telling you that, you know, it's just something that you have to get over. So, second thing is to find somebody to be vulnerable with. And I know that this might be difficult for some people to do, but try it out if you can. So, find a friend or, you know, find a family member or somebody on campus that you trust and that you talk to just to simply get that social interaction in that we're lacking, which can help you feel better too. You might find that, you know, what they're feeling is similar to what you're feeling. So you have somebody to relate to and you don't feel as bad. And then finally, she mentioned be a part of something bigger than yourself. So maybe join a cause, you know. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out in the field and, you know, do these great and amazing things. You can do these things from the comfort of your own home. So, yeah, join something bigger than yourself too. So now we're going to go to the next slide. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how social isolation has impacted us. So research shows that prior research, I mean, I know there's not much research about COVID-19 and, you know, how it has impacted us socially, but there is a little bit, and this is what I found. So I found that anxiety and panic symptoms increase, obsessive compulsive symptoms increase, people are getting a lot less sleep, which you would think that people would be getting more sleep because maybe they have more time on their hands. So I thought that was pretty interesting. You're having more digestive problems. So maybe you're, you know, spending more food on eating out, or maybe you just want to get out the house. So you go get some food instead of cooking at home. And then you have, you know, an increase in depressive symptoms as well as post-traumatic stress symptoms. And there was also some significant research that showed that domestic violence cases have gone up as well because people are spending more time at home, which means that their abuser may have more access to them. So a good way to combat this, like we mentioned earlier, is to have somebody that you can talk to. If you're feeling any of these symptoms, be vulnerable with somebody if you feel comfortable. So next slide. So this is just a discussion. So take time to reflect and think about how has COVID-19 impacted you. Like I mentioned earlier, I know a lot of times we're kind of just told to get over it and, you know, our feelings aren't really valid about how we feel because the pandemic is here and for the most part, it might be here for a long time. So it seems as though we just kind of have to deal with it. So yeah, just trying to kind of take some time and think like, how has this impacted me? I'll share how it's impacted me. I'm a hypochondriac, so it's definitely made me stay at home more than I normally would. I usually am never at home because I really enjoy physical experiences and being able to be out in the world and just see things and do things. Like I would go to Walmart just to get out the house. When I was a kid, I would beg my mom to go to Walmart simply just to get out the house. So I've always been that way. So now that I'm not able to just get out the house and go do things that I want to do, um, it's really taken a toll on me. So I know maybe a lot of you guys are feeling the same way too. So yeah, just take some time to think about how you feel. So let's play a game. We're not going to just play it because I'm the only one in here. So I'm going to give you guys some things that you can do if you're on Zoom and you want to play a game. So the first thing I have is called Oh Silly Monster. So what you'll do is you'll take a piece of paper and one person will draw a monster, draw it as crazy as you want it to be. And then over Zoom, you will describe the monster as close as you can. So you'll say, oh, my monster has a big head with big eyes, and you'll describe it from head to toe. Then the people on Zoom will then try to recreate your monster. At the end of the game, everybody will show their monster, and whoever's monster is the closest to yours will win. So I kind of thought that was a fun game. Another fun game is the red carpet game. So over Zoom with your friends or family, you can give everybody a theme, and everybody will go to their closet and dress accordingly. And whoever comes back to the camera with the best outfit wins. And finally, a very popular game that I feel like is probably my favorite is charades. So you can do like a random word generator online and just find a random word, and you'll tell, split everybody up into teams and tell the team the word that they're supposed to act out and let their chosen group member pick until they can get the right answer. So yeah, those are some games that you can try at home on Zoom. Okay, so here are some ways that you guys can stay socially relevant, social media proof. I want to go into the social media proof part. I know a lot of us have spent a lot more time on social media just because we can't get out and do things. So I feel like it's important to acknowledge, the level of toxicity that social media can have on us, because there are a lot of negative things out on social media, which can also take a mental toll on us as well. So the reason I'm doing this is because I want you guys to be able to take a break from social media if you can. It's always nice to take a break from, the Twitter and the Snapchat and everything. So yeah, just be aware that now that we are using social media at an increased rate, we might be more likely to notice negative things on social media. So yeah, just something to keep in mind, but we'll get into the list. So some things you can do are join a virtual support group. You can just easily search one up on Google. I've done it plenty of times. Like we said earlier, you can video chat with close friends or family, join a movement you're passionate about. My favorite is visit a pumpkin patch or apple orchard. So I feel like that's something that would be really fun to do too. Go to a drive-in movie, have a picnic outdoors, or go camping. So these are some things you can do that you don't necessarily have to be compacted in a room and too close to anybody. And right now, I believe the CDC guidelines are that you should still make sure that you're socially distanced and also try to wear a mask if you are around other people. And make sure that if any of the things that you're doing, make sure that you have the ability to be 6 feet apart, which I feel like these are probably things that you could be 6 feet apart in. Like if you go to the drive-in movie, you could, take separate cars or something like that. Yeah, these are things that you guys can do. Right now, we're going to talk about how to cope. So first, acknowledge how you feel, like we discussed earlier. Understand your feelings, take time to think, okay, like this is something that has affected me. I've had to do this myself. Talk to a counselor, friend, or family member. So talk to somebody. Maybe you can relate to them and they can relate to you. And, maybe you're not only helping yourself, but you're also helping them by giving them the chance to express their feelings as well. Um, Practice self-care. This is the most important one. I feel like you should practice self-care regardless of the pandemic. So, do things that you enjoy, go for a walk, get a facial. My favorite form of self-care is cooking. So that's what I do. Do some yoga, work out. That's a good one too. And then I feel like a really, really, really important one. This one might be the most important one here. Think about the bright side. So yes, we are dealing with the pandemic and we don't get to do the things that we used to do. But what are you doing now that maybe you didn't get to do before? Like maybe you found a new hobby. Maybe you started doing something that you used to do that you didn't have the time to do, but now you can do because now you have the time. And, maybe being, socially isolated gave you the chance to reflect on yourself and gave you the chance to get to know yourself and understand yourself better now that you've had all the time on your hands that you do. So yeah, just try to think about the bright side. Like, how has it benefited you? I know it's easy to sometimes think all the negative things about it, but what are some of the positive things? Okay, and some resources. So the UCO CCWB, free for all students, room 402. There is a crisis text line. I've actually tried this text line and it does work. So you just text home to 741-741. And then there are some free mindfulness classes via Zoom. I can try to put the link in whatever we post this on in the YouTube. And then there is therapy assistance online at teoconnect.org. And that is the end. That is the end of the presentation. I want to thank everybody for listening. Hopefully you got something helpful out of the video and see you guys next time.